Rancher, the very word echoes with dust, sweat, and the endless horizon. A man who wakes before the sun, who carries the land on his back and the sky in his eyes. And this story begins with such a rancher, a man named Samuel Carter. He was tall, weathered by the years, his skin marked by the sun, and his hands toughened by rope and reins. Samuel lived alone on a ranch that stretched across the plains, a land so wide you could ride for days and never touch its end. But despite his strength, Samuel was a man of silence. He spoke little, laughed less, and carried with him a loneliness no one could see except maybe his old horse Duke, who was the only soul he confided in. Samuel had once had a wife, Mary, and dreams of children filling the ranch house with laughter. But Mary passed during a hard winter, and with her went the light in Samuel's heart. Since then, the ranch was just land and cattle, work, nothing more. It was on a sharp autumn morning that his life would change forever. The air was crisp, the grass golden, and Samuel had saddled Duke for the day's ride. But as he neared the barn, he saw movement. At first he thought it was a coyote or a thief. His hand went to the revolver at his hip. Slowly, he pushed the barn door open, and there, curled between two hay bales, was not a thief, not an animal, but a boy. He couldn't have been more than 10. His clothes were tattered, his face smudged with dirt, and his bare feet cut by thorns. In his hands, he clutched a piece of old bread, gnawed nearly to nothing. His eyes were wild, half fear, half defiance. "Son," Samuel said, his voice low and steady, "you've picked the wrong barn to crawl into." The boy froze. His lips trembled, but he managed to whisper, "I wasn't stealing. I was just hungry." Samuel's fingers loosened from the revolver. Hungry. That word cut through him like a blade. He looked closer. He could see the boy's ribs, the way he trembled from the cold. "What's your name?" Samuel asked. The boy swallowed hard. "Eli. And where's your folks?" "Eli." The silence that followed was heavier than the prairie night. The boy's eyes welled up. "Mama got sick last winter. Papa went to town, but he never came back. I've been walking ever since." Samuel stood there, silent. Something deep inside him stirred, something he thought had died with Mary. Slowly he reached out a rough hand. "Come on, boy, let's get you some real food." Inside the ranch house, Samuel set a plate of beans, bread, and milk in front of Eli. The boy devoured it as if it were his last meal. Samuel didn't rush him. He simply sat back, watching, thinking. For the first time in years, there was someone else at his table. The sound of spoons scraping the plate, the sight of another pair of eyes across the wood. It felt right. "You can stay the night," Samuel finally said, "but come sunrise, you'll earn your keep. No one eats here for free. Understand?" Eli nodded eagerly. For him, a night under a roof was a blessing. That one night turned into a week, and a week into months. At first, Eli was clumsy. He fell trying to lift hay bales. He dropped buckets of water, and he got tangled in ropes more times than Samuel could count. But little by little, he grew stronger. His small hands became steady with the reins. His feet learned the rhythm of the land. Samuel began teaching him the ways of a rancher, how to mend a fence, how to spot a sick calf, how to ride Duke without fear. Every mistake was met not with scolding, but with lessons. And for Samuel, every laugh that escaped the boy's lips chipped away at the stone wall around his heart. One evening, as the sun bled red into the horizon, Eli sat by the campfire. His voice was quiet when he asked, "Mr. Samuel, why did you help me? You could have sent me away." Samuel poked the fire with a stick, the flames crackling. "Because once, long ago, I was lost to it. Someone gave me a chance. Reckon it's only right I do the same." His voice softened. "Besides, Eli, no man's meant to walk this land alone." From then on, Samuel stopped calling him boy. He started calling him son. And Eli stopped calling him sir and started calling him pa. But life on the plains is never without trial. One summer, a drought hit the ranch. The grass turned brown, the streams dried up, and cattle grew weak. Samuel worked day and night, pushing himself to the limit. Eli tried to, but he was still young. One scorching afternoon, he collapsed from exhaustion in the fields. Samuel rushed to him, fear gripping him like never before. He carried Eli to the shade, gave him water, and sat by his side until he opened his eyes. "Pa," Eli whispered. "I'm here, son," Samuel said, his rough hand on Eli's forehead. "I ain't going nowhere." In that moment, Samuel realized something. Eli wasn't just some boy he'd taken in. He was family, blood or not. He was Samuel's own. Years passed. Eli grew into a strong young man, capable and wise beyond his years. Together, they rebuilt the ranch after storms, endured winters that howled through the plains, and celebrated springs when calves filled the pastures. Folks in town began to notice. They'd tip their hats and say, "That boy's a spitting image of you, Sam," and Samuel would smile, pride swelling in his chest. One day, Eli asked, "Pa, do you think I'll ever be a rancher like you?" Samuel placed a hand on his shoulder. "No, son, you'll be better. You'll take this land further than I ever could." And Samuel believed it. When people rode past the Carter ranch, they didn't just see a man and his cattle anymore. They saw something rarer. They saw a father and son bound, not by blood, but by something stronger. Love, choice, and the courage to let someone into your heart. And so the tale of Samuel Carter and the orphan boy Eli became a legend across the plains. A story not of fences and cattle, but of family. Proof that sometimes the people we lose lead us straight to the people we meant to find. Because in the wide open West, it isn't the land that defines you, it's the hearts you choose to hold.